what can we as the ones listening to the show can do on an everyday basis to get mentally tougher?
First of all, I've used mentally stronger. Okay.
Mentally stronger.
Yeah. Because what we say is it's kind of like lifting weights. I can do 5 pounds right now, and maybe next week I can do 10. People shouldn't marginalize themselves by thinking that they got to start with 100 or 200, 300 pounds or whatever. We call it small amounts and large amounts of movements or repetitions. And in that way, you build strength. If anything, I tell people strength is the first requirement that you build, and the second one is stamina. And that's one thing that I don't find anybody else in the world teaching. You know, they'll teach you strength and they'll tell you you can find magazines and everything how to be stronger, but they don't teach you how to have stamina of being Gina, stamina of being Randy, because you're going to get attacked. That's a given. And that's the fallacy of our world, especially some of the younger generations, is they've never been attacked before. You have to be able to respond to it by choice, not by reaction. So again, all these situations go on, and if you're if you're reacting to it, you're already behind. You need to set up a choice matrix that allows you to move forward. And you should consider that all these things are going to happen. If you marry somebody, there's a chance you're going to get divorced. If you work for somebody, there's a chance you're going to get fired. Why not explore that before you get there? And what that means is if you get into a lawsuit or a court system, you should have already explored that. Who's your attorney? Who's your support system? Who can lend you basically their own consciousness in a way that allows you to move forward, not allow you to be dependent. Okay, it's different. So these are new skill sets. Men who stare at goats in the movie. I think they called it the New Earth Army. It's like everybody's welcome to join. It's an intuitive army, and I'd like to be the general in charge of it. So I'm up for King of Australia, General in New York. I'm trying to make myself available out there because these are things you need to be successful now. So how do you build strength? Through discipline. And the rule that I give people to start with is very simple. Your discipline will save you. And if you've been under discipline, you have an advantage over everybody else. It's time to reinstall that and pick a new discipline. The way I learned it is every time you go to a different martial arts studio, you start as a white belt. Why? You're learning a new discipline. And so you should be happy about that. If you've been forced to learn it, that's a little rougher. You need to get rid of all the emotions associated with that. But if I make a choice to go from Kung Fu to Aikido or to Jiu-Jitsu or to, all these other martial arts, I make those choices. I get to suffer the pain of learning those disciplines. There'll be pain involved, but I don't have the pain of the previous discipline. I'm not getting beaten the same way. And so that's kind of the way we look at this whole process. It's like, okay, I got beat up pretty bad in that one. Now I'm going to go somewhere else and learn a new way of getting beat. You'll never get away from getting beat. The choice is to be happy about it. So that's what I would tell people.
And what about stamina? How do you, you said, you need stamina.
They were some of the worst exercises we ever went through. We would stand with our partner and we had to stand there, arms down, and just relax, and they would push us down. Then you had to basically just fall down. And it's pretty funny to begin with. And about the 23rd time, you're ready to kill somebody because all of a sudden now all that anger comes out of you. And at that point, you would get hit in the back of the head with a stick. The second stamina exercise was they would spit at your face.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Exactly. And what would your response be? Well, the first thing that happens, you tighten up your fist, you get hit in the back of the head again. Like in street battle, people do things like that to initiate an attack. And if you don't have the stamina to resist that because of going through that and training for it, then you're automatically in the fight. Sun Tzu says, pick your time of battle and your place of battle. Never let the enemy pick the time and stuff. So there's a lot to learn out there. Just because you come out of the military or out of a marriage or out of a corporate structure, now it's time to begin your education. That's what I tell people. And that's what I do. I give them a discipline to pursue based on them. It's not gender specific. Okay. In other words, discipline's the same for everybody. Right.
Gotcha. All right.
So put yourself under discipline no matter what problem you're facing. If you can do that, then you will be better. And, like I gave you, start with a time to get up and time to go to bed, 40 days straight. And if you don't make it, start to count over. That's discipline. Then if you maintain it for a year, we call that stamina. Because the world's going to try every way in the world to keep you from pursuing that. And you know that. Everybody I've ever given it to knows it. Yeah. I know it because I went through it. I went through a 3. That was crazy. No time for relationships or anything if you're going to pursue a 3-year program. People sometimes say, well, I want to be your student. And I go, I don't think so. You would have to go under discipline. God, people hate it. I mean, they just are not fond of it. But in that way lays strength, in that way lays discipline, in that way lays stamina.
And all this prepares you for the inevitable, like you just mentioned, like the generation now, it's like, they don't understand the hard, that's coming. And then when it comes, it's emotional. They're reacting emotionally. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the things when we would fight in the ring, the first time in, a lot of the students would, kind of like cry or something. And we would tell them, what makes you think you're not going to get hit? Right? It's like one of the special forces, I said, what makes you think you're not going to get shot at? And I said, you have to decide right now how you're going to act, not react when that happens. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do that, then you become a statistic. Now, what if you decide, like when you make a decision, right? But then all of a sudden it actually happens, and you do totally different than what you decide. Then that's the first martial arts called awareness. You have to be aware of the opportunities and which direction they lie. Every situation presents an opportunity. Unfortunately, I learned it as an opportunity for death. So what we were required to do is find any option other than death. I think like Don Bongino says, don't get dead. So that's a pretty good program. But, like when you're learning to fight, you learn if they're shooting at you, you've already decided where to seek cover or where to fall or where to move. If the shooting starts, it's a continual process. If it's not continuous, you get surprised. If it's continuous, you wear yourself out thinking. So instead, you learn to extend your awareness to include all the options that are available to you. They talked about it in Men Who Stare at Goats, and I teach it as one of the martial arts. So awareness is the first martial art I teach. You already know where you're going to go. You've given yourself, let's say, 5 options. And if none of them are available, you take the next opportunity. That's the trick. So we're looking constantly for opportunity. Everybody does. It's just they don't do it consciously. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Thanks so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed this. Was a really great conversation that I really think a lot of people would benefit from listening to. Yeah, we want everybody to do well. We want everybody to have whatever help they need, and want everybody to help themselves to the best outcome.